Hello, my name's Cliff Stevenson and I'm the Helpful Economist. This time we're looking at whether Microsoft will be allowed to take over Activision. If you like the games Call of Duty or World of Warcraft, this could affect you. In January 22, Microsoft announced the $68.7 million acquisition of Activision. This is the biggest video game acquisition ever and gives Microsoft ownership of some big franchises including Call of Duty and World of Warcraft. Activision supplies games to console manufacturers such as Microsoft and Sony. The acquisition will give Microsoft control over key games that are also supplied to its competitors. We can look at global shares of consoles revenue in 2021. This data comes from the UK Competition and Markets Authority and is given in ranges due to commercial sensitivity. Microsoft has a market share of 20 to 30%, while Sony has a market share of 40 to 50%. This is a concentrated market and mergers are always going to raise regulatory questions in a situation like this. In terms of cloud gaming, we see a similar position. Looking at shares of monthly active users for cloud gaming services in 2021, we can see a similar situation in relation to Microsoft's share and Sony's share. However, the data shows that there was a significant change in 2022, with Microsoft's share increasing to 60 to 70% and a significant fall in Sony's share. Given Microsoft's significant position in the market and the importance of Activision to Microsoft's competitors, regulatory scrutiny was inevitable. The CMA has recently published its findings and we're going to take a look at their conclusions as they do provide an indication of what may happen to this merger. The analysis particularly focused on the Call of Duty game. One of the key questions addressed by the CMA was whether the Microsoft ownership of Activision would negatively affect the supply of the game Call of Duty to Sony. The CMA considered this question for two separate markets, consoles and cloud gaming services. For consoles, the CMA initially concluded that there would be a negative effect and that it would be commercially beneficial for Microsoft to make Call of Duty exclusive to the Xbox. However, it recently amended its findings based on a conclusion that there would be a significant financial loss to Microsoft if it did this post-merger. We saw earlier that Sony has a very significant market share in consoles. It makes sense that there could be significant losses if Microsoft cut off this business to Sony. For cloud gaming, we saw earlier that Microsoft has a very strong position, and the CMA found that Sony and ultimately PlayStation consumers would be negatively affected. They found that it would be commercially beneficial for Microsoft to make Call of Duty exclusive to the Xbox, or at least provided on materially better terms. They noted that cloud gaming is a growing and dynamic market and that the merger could alter the future of gaming. They pointed out that historically Microsoft has made few first-party games available on rival cloud gaming platforms, and that therefore Microsoft has an incentive to foreclose the market. All of these competition investigations are ongoing and will be resolved in the next few months. The CMA will publish its final findings at the end of April 2023. So what are the possible outcomes? Microsoft could be required to divest of all or part of Activision. For example, it could be required to sell off Call of Duty. Alternatively, the whole merger could be prohibited. Or there could be behavioral remedies where Microsoft makes certain commitments in relation to access to Call of Duty for third-party gaming platforms. I hope you found this information useful. My name's Cliff Stevenson. I'm the Helpful Economist. See you next time.